Welcome back to another of these designer profile videos, and in this one we're looking at Grovey31 and the wonderful Summerland Valley Club. Now this one is based on some Alistair Mackenzie designs, and the reason we're going to start from the overhead is because this one we're particularly focusing on routing, as well as green complexes and also hole designs, but let's start with routing. Now first of all, Adam, like myself, is a huge fan of routing courses in interesting ways. And you'll notice straight away that a number of the greens are placed pretty much side by side. So we've got two down there in the distance, two down here. And he'll often try to cluster a number of greens together in a way that you get this kind of feeling of returning to the same spot in different directions. He'll also typically try to put tees and greens very close together. He's a big fan of kind of close, intimate routings. Which is a pretty standard kind of design principle. What he does particularly well is takes you back to these different spots in interesting ways and makes those interesting routings work. I mean, if we look at these two greens side by side, that shouldn't really feel like something that works, and yet it makes complete sense when you're playing it. The same with the two down here, and they don't distract from one another. So he'll always try and do something that's a little bit different. Now, in terms of the hole designs themselves, they're fantastic. The green complexes, I would say, he's the best designer when it comes to greens in the game, because there's so much playability and interest in there. And that's one thing we're going to look at later. And in terms of the actual hole designs themselves, angles and strategy matter. But the one thing I always take from his courses is that no matter where you are, how far out of position, you always have a shot. Now, angle and where you are very much matters, but there's that element of forgiveness in there, and par is not overly difficult. Birdie just might be less attainable. Now, because Adam's on PS4, we're going to have to actually play this course, so I won't get to hop around in the design later, but we'll certainly be able to find a few things to highlight as we go. Okay, and the first hole is a really strong opener that again kind of introduces us to what the course would offer. Now, we start off with a relatively open looking tee shot, but there's a real preferred side to the fairway in order to open up the angle to the green. That would be down the left. However, the fairway tilts slightly towards the right, shuffling you into that less advantageous position. And as we come to the green, you can see all of those interesting micro contours that we're going to see throughout the round. So it's a really good start. One of the things with his greens that you'll notice is he doesn't design with 4 specific pins in mind. Just the green kind of evolves as he goes. The first hole we're going to look at of the best of is our par 5, and this is the 4th. Now, whilst the tee shot matters here, we've got a central hazard, clear avenue to the left and to the right. Left more dangerous because you'll be blocked out from the green if you miss left, whereas right, you've got a shot. The real hero here is the green side, which is just stunning, and the way the bunkers kind of emanate from the undergrowth is really perfect. There's a little diagonal line that makes that angle of approach matter. And again, you've got an all-world green where you want to be short and you want to try to have the right distance, or you've got a tricky 2-putt. It's just a class hole. Another great par 4 is the 8th, and this one's a longer version than the other short 4 we'd looked at. Now with this one, you've got 2 avenues off the tee. You can go slightly further left, but you'll notice the fairway kind of carries on longer the further right you go. Actually, you want to hug the left because the sloping of the green all works right to left, which means an approach from that side is going to kind of kick a bit further away from the pin. Whereas if you're coming from the left-hand side, those slopes gather you slightly more towards the pin, making the left a better angle. So for a long hole, again, the angles really do matter, even though they're subtle. And yet another one of those great short par 4s where line and length matter, we come to the 10th. Now here, the fairway, it's quite wide, but in order to open up that green, which goes sharply towards the right, you want to be as far down this fairway as you can. So you've really got to challenge the very far end of the fairway. And as you can see, that green bends around that bunker, with the sloping off that bunker further accentuating the angle on that pin at the back. You want to be coming at it from as far left as you possibly can be. It's another really clever hole. Now the best par 3 on the course, and it's a really strong set for me, is 13. Now for this one, you've got a really big green, and with Adam that generally means there's some funky stuff going on, but also some beautiful bunkering, huge, great sense of space. And where this one is with this one, you want to be below the hole, which is tricky, but on a short hole, we can demand that kind of precision, which means challenging those front bunkers. And so we finish up with 18, and this is one of the quirkier holes on the course. I would guess modelled after the St Andrews 18th, where you've got this drivable par 4 with some bunkers in the fairway, but in reality, you've got that choice of do you lay up short? You can see a kind of sort of valley of sin, short, right, and left, and leave yourself an awkward pitch to tricky-ish pin positions, or do you lay back for a wedge? It certainly ends on a number of choices that you can have, and it's a little bit different, which I like. So what sort of things can you take from this video? Well, I think first and foremost is that the golf is the most important thing, and Adam will be the first to admit that he hates planting and it doesn't really matter to him, even if I think this course looks fantastic. It's not where his priority is. But the golf is always spectacular, and what makes that so good is the way that he utilises natural features, but does it in a very subtle way. You're not completely screwed if you're out of position. You always have a shot. The greens provide interest and often are the main defence of the course, whereas for some of us it's the approach shots that provide the main defence, and we're thinking so carefully about hazarding the greens rather than what the slopes on the greens are doing. I think we can take a lot from that. In terms of routing, the way he puts courses together in an interesting way that you visit and visit different areas of the plot. So you can see we can seamlessly weave through different parts of the course, and we're constantly seeing different holes, the same patch of land from different places. I think that adds loads to it as well. What things should you maybe also know that not everyone can do this? Well, partly his planting. I mean, he can get away with it because the golf is this damn good. Most of us couldn't get away with planting where we're giving this little attention to it. Secondly, he's done it really well on this course, but he doesn't believe in kind of some of the finer technical points of transitions, etc., that a number of us maybe do. And there's some stuff that he doesn't bother about, and it doesn't matter because, again, the golf is this damn good. And that's the thing you should really focus on when playing Grovey courses. Go and play them all. They're awesome.